What's up? So I'm just gonna hang out here for a minute and see if anybody actually joins in and cares what I ever have to say. I don't go live very often. I'm gonna start doing it more because I think that's what a lot of people want to watch is live streaming. I guess makes sense. And all my videos are just exactly that. I just hit record and just talk. They're not planned out. Like people try to say that I plan them all out. No, I just whatever comes to mind, I speak it. And I edit some of my videos, but I don't. I don't doctor them up and take shit out of context so that it to manipulate people or you know, to try to appease this person or or worry about offending that person. Um, I never worried about getting my channel taken down from people getting offended, but as I've learned quite a bit, on these YouTube streets. So I'm aware. You know what I mean? I'm acknowledging I'm aware of all of the silly reasons that can get get your channel taken down or can get community strike violations. So I do try to avoid certain things, but there's just too many things anymore that's gonna make somebody butthurt. And I'm sorry, but if you have to filter what you say and worry about what comes out of your mouth, worried about who you're gonna offend, you know, then you're not speaking freely anymore. You know, your speech is absolutely censored and it's controlled. You know, people talking about mind control, right? Well, mind control is not necessarily a technology. It's not witchcraft or voodoo. It's just perception and programming, and when people are led to believe certain things and they've come to these beliefs through basically watching other people and just copying off of them, then they're just programmed. It's that they've essentially shut down their ability to think for themselves. When they do that, they put up a wall, a filter that doesn't allow information to make it through into the part of the brain that does the thinking. It shuts down any future. What's the word I'm looking for? Any future enlightenment they might have, or the ability to learn new things. You only feed the division, and it's only based off of what words, words and feelings, so emotions. So don't let your emotions control your ability to learn new things or to expand your perceptions. Expand your perspectives and your because then what are you doing here? What's the point? You're just part of the machine then. If you want to be part of the solution, then you have to stop being part of the problem. So that's why I'm doing this live. That's why I went live to talk about this while it's on my mind, while it's fresh, and I don't forget about it, because I feel guided to talk about certain things, and whenever I don't talk about it, it just I forget about it. But then when it comes back, I feel even more guided to talk about it. Like there's a hypothetical person bugging me, tapping on my shoulder, saying come on, don't forget, you got to do this. Don't forget, hey, remember you got to talk about this, don't forget. To the point where eventually you just give in and you're like, okay, hey, look, there goes the cop again. So So let's go back. Where did this, how to start? I just walked over with my daughter to do a some paperwork at the notary, and as soon as I left my house, the police officer just drove right past me. Which, small town, coincidence, sure, maybe. So I just came back outside after finishing that and started this live. And as long as I've been live, that's how long it took for the cop to just drive past again. So coincidence, sure, maybe. He was going back from the way he came when I first saw him. So do I think that he was where he was heading towards out of town, and just now he was heading back into town? So do I think that he was just coming back from wherever he was at? No. I think I do think it is because you know I'm out here doing this live. Patton's a small town. There's no crime. They have nothing better to do. So I didn't see him drive back past. So maybe he just drove past me to begin with, sat there and waited for me to come out. When I came out, then he said, okay, now I'm going to drive back past. Yeah, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm paranoid, right? But all the evidence I have to support what I'm saying, I think you'd be crazy to deny what I'm telling you. But anyway, the subject that I wanted to talk about is the division that we see between different groups of people. We call them groups of people because they categorize these groups of people with nothing more than a label that they didn't even choose for themselves. You have left and right, and you have different groups of people. Like I said, I've been put into different groups myself through the use of labels that I didn't choose and that I don't even agree with. So how can somebody categorize you and call you this or call you that when not only did you not, consider yourself that, you don't agree with it, but what if you don't even know the definition of the word? It's just a label, it's just a word, that's it. But because of the division, because of that different group, a lot of people will just have hard-coded programming in their brain to judge other groups, to judge people, and not allow their words to have any weight at all with their thought process. They won't allow themselves to actually hear what that person has to say because they think that person is this or that, right? So that's how could those people ever gain a better perspective, a better point of view, or a better worldview? How could they ever hope to be a part of the solution if they're just fueling the problem, the division? They're causing more division. They're spreading the thing that's keeping them divided to begin with. So let me give you the example. I'll tell you this story. I was talking to somebody. It was a very productive conversation, and we're not going to align on everything. Nobody's going to agree on everything. But the things that we were talking about, there's not a lot of people I can talk to that are as open-minded as this. So I was very, I was very involved in the conversation and willing to share, my point of view or my perspective. I don't care what words other people use. There's not a single word somebody could use that's going to offend me or get me to, judge them or put them in a little group. I don't play that game. I don't use labels. Put it that way. We'll just say it that way. Labels are the tool that the people who control the world, right, the elites, the powers that be, labels are the tool that they use to control society. And they control them through their mind, mind control. It's propaganda, programming, They don't call it, your regularly scheduled programming on TV for nothing. Why would they even call TV programming? It's a program, right? It's programming. Well, you use programming in computers and technology, right? You feed it, you know, certain bits of data and code into the source code and programming, and then you control how that system works. You control the rules that govern that system, right? We're no different. We're just biological instead of technological. So and that's the only difference. It really is. People talk about, soul, right? Hey, you did it. Did you have any problems? Nice. My daughter just learned how to drive a manual. Told you. I told you you'd be able to do it. She just learned how to drive a stick. She just learned how to drive a stick.
Very nice. Good job.
So.
I don't even know how to do that. I'm 32. Good job.
Oh, you can do it. You just try it. You'd be able to do it.
I dropped the transmission out of a stick.
Well, then you're that much closer to success.
I haven't driven one since.
Well, that's scary. So you could drop a transmission out of a stick. She probably put it in first while she was going 50 mile an hour or something. That's what'll happen if you jam it into something. Then, like as I was telling you about all that binding pressure, that you can crack you can crack those metal parts are only so strong, and when they break. Yeah, my daughter. I'm live right now on YouTube, so my daughter just learned how to drive her stick. She should be proud of herself. She's 20 years old. She all by herself took it upon herself to want to get a stick, want to get a manual, and drive it and learn to drive it. She wanted me to teach her, and I said, I'll just tell you to do it. That's it. Nobody can really teach you. Once you know how it works, you just have to do it. Like I had trouble even explaining to her how to the process between pulling out in first gear, letting your foot off the clutch and giving it gas. The little process there, you can't explain it. You just have to really do it.
I understand a lot more what you were saying though.
Yeah.
You don't have to let the clutch out of the way, and you just.
I know you don't want to be on. You're beautiful. She just ran out of the house without any makeup or anything, and I told her, I said, there's nothing you could do to look ugly. I said, you're one of them people that are just always beautiful all the time. So, but what I was talking about, Lyle, I didn't get to tell you the story that I was telling you. We were, oh shit, I just broke that light. Yeah, I'm fine. The light's not.
What happened? Oh, it came off.
Yeah. But we were at the notary, and I was having this conversation. Like I said, a very productive conversation.
Is there a battery in
It,
it?
I don't know, but it just clipped onto here. It looks like somebody else broke one out, or no, just set it right here. I'll let Debbie know, and because I'll let her know, and I'll fix it or replace it. Yeah, this needs to come out here. There you go. And then clip it on. Lila's out here breaking stuff.
Yep, it's me.
Yeah, I hope I broke it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So anyway, I was having this very productive conversation about certain topics that a lot of people just are out there. They're beyond some people's comprehension, their cognitive comprehension. And I was talking about social media apps, and we were talking specifically about TikTok, right? And I explained how I believe there's a strong possibility that there's two different versions of TikTok in regards to China and the United States, and that the algorithm in China's version of TikTok is designed in a way to promote better society, to promote certain behaviors in their population, in their public. And in the United States, the algorithm is designed to promote division and brain rot, right? And I said, because you see in China a lot of people that are super intelligent, and the app, is productive more than anything else. You don't see as much brain rot at all. But in the United States, the majority of the content on like TikTok and everything is just people doing retarded shit, right? And instantly, that's what shut down the conversation. When I said, people just doing retarded shit and it's brain rot, she let me know that she doesn't like that word. And And I asked her, well, can I ask why, why you don't like that people using that word? And she said, because it's a derogatory term, that's used to belittle people, put people down. So is everything else, right? But this is an example of how they have programmed everybody, to be able to use terms like this, labels like this, just to sow division. They use that one in particular to be able to, real quick, it's like an easy button, like a real quick, boom, throw up a brick wall between these people because we don't want them communicating. So if you have somebody like in your family that's, that suffers from, what's the term now, the politically correct term they use for mental retardation? I think it's something else. But if you have a special needs person in your family, this is going to hit close to home. So it's going to be easier to program you with these labels. So I understand that and I see that, right? And I certainly wouldn't intentionally offend anybody through the use of those words because that's just mean. It's a dick, don't be a dick, But I'm just explaining my point to her. Right. Well, they actually went away from it and they went back to it. There's a place in Altoona, and it's the Big Green Monster they call it, and it's the Center for Mental Retardation.
People is what turned it into a bad term.
Right. Well,
People used it.
yes, that's the people. The powers that be have taken that term, and by categorizing it as as hate speech and politically correct, not a politically correct term, they like banned that word from use, and by doing so, they gave themselves the ability to program a bunch of people, right? Because they told those people to be mad if they hear that word. Like, listen, you need to be mad if somebody uses that word, okay? And they said, okay, sure, yeah. And I was called a bigot. And so she explained it, she don't like the use of it. And I said, well, see, the nice thing about the United States is, we have free speech. And, I can use that word or use it to describe anybody I want. And there's nothing they can do to it legally, they can get their feelings hurt, but it doesn't trump the law, and the laws are what's important in this world. That's what they put in place, to protect society, right? To protect society against the tyrannical powers that be that we were in the first place. Because when they control your beliefs and they can control, what you're allowed to say and do, well, that's tyrannical. That's why we have free speech to begin with. That's why it's so important. And you don't really understand that. The people that are like, oh, who cares? And oh, hate speech this and hate speech that. They don't really know what the fuck they're talking about. Sorry. They, they would benefit from, listening to somebody else for a while and letting their mind kind of be quiet. And they might learn something that would, help them become a better person. Because what happened in this particular conversation was I said, I'm allowed to say that, and whenever I want, nobody can do anything about it. And she said, and I'm allowed to terminate this conversation and walk away. And as she was walking away, I said, yes, but what do you gain from that? You know what I mean? And that's my point. What do you gain from putting that brick wall up and allowing a word, right, to divide you? She called me a bigot as she walked out of the room. I don't even know the definition of bigotry or what the word bigot means. I think I do. I think it's, somebody who, I guess it's like kind of like racism, only with derogatory terms, right? They think that somebody who views other people as these specific words, right? It's kind of the whole point of what I'm talking about. Bigotry is a word, a label they used so that they could sow more division through more labels. And as simple as that, So as soon as people get rid of their fucking emotions and their feelings, right? Wipe your tears, tuck your vaginas in, and you'll be better off, much better off. And you'll all of a sudden you'll open the door to learn a whole bunch more shit. And you'll open the door to part of a conversation that actually has intelligent people in it. So that's what I wanted to talk about in this live stream. If you get nothing from it, remember, labels are used to divide us. When you hear somebody, using a label, and it causes problems, controversy, whatever, help them out. Please point this out to them if you agree. Say don't let them control us through labels. It's just a word that we created. We created the fucking word. Somebody who's smarter than most people decided to use it in as a tool, because the more control they have. See you, Debbie.
See ya.
Sorry, I'm still on the Xfinity Wi-Fi here before I walk. I'm gonna lose my. So I'm about done now. Look, she learned how to drive a stick.
Drove up here.
Drove over here by herself.
Wonderful. Thank you.
It's nice. We need to get that bumper painted gloss though, like the rest. Yeah, or maybe we should paint it like a reflector so people can see it coming. It was a joke. It was a dig at so the school buses can see it coming. Yeah. Thanks, Debbie. See ya. Yeah, I'm ready. All right. So that being said, I'm gonna lose the service here probably as I walk. So, be good or be good at it. And screenshot this. We'll see. If we don't lose you, I won't lose you. I'll keep going live here, and we'll see. Get to check out the new car here.
Sorry.
Oh, yep. Hey, look. Some things never change. Her old habits die hard. New car, I get in, and there's a pile of shit on the passenger seat.
Clean it, so I have this cleaning stuff in here.
Pile of shit on the passenger seat that I gotta move before I can sit down.
Sorry.
Listen, you're good. I'm just picking on you.
I know.
But that's women for you, right?
Yeah.
And their passenger seat is basically their other their bigger. It's their bigger purse, and their floor is their trash can.
It's catch-all.
It's catch-all. Yeah, catch-all. And if it don't catch it all, the between the seats definitely will. So.
Sorry.
It's a good song. I don't care if I might get shut off for copyright strike. I don't care though. This is a good song. Should I stay or should I go now?
Sorry.
Should I stay? Oh, yeah. If I stay, there will be double. I just thought that was hilarious though. She called me a bigot, walked out of the room. I laughed out loud.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got her.
I know.
Oh,
Keep
yeah,
forgetting to
your
do that.
e-brake was on. There you go. And make sure as you're doing it, just keep looking around, and eventually, a lot of that it'll become muscle. It'll become muscle memory. You won't even realize that you're doing it while you're looking around driving.
Yeah.
With everything else, just like everything else, practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
Nobody's.
I feel a lot more confident today than I did yesterday.
Yeah, I knew you would be. Like I said, your mom years ago, she just did it, picked it up right away. She was a fucking expert right away.
That's a little bit much.
Yep, you're good. You see how far out the clutch has to get though before it starts catching?
Yeah.
So, student driver. We should get a sticker. We should get a big sign, a lit up sign, put it on the top. Student driver, watch out. Hey, look, there's PennDOT. The cop drove past me again. They're heading back towards town. That's why I said, hey, what's up, Alea? I haven't talked to you forever. What's up, Alea? Well, look who it is. It's, yep, Brad Pitt's stunt double. How you been, Alea? I was just thinking about you the other day. I got through my old help it along.
It was
So,
$329. That's crazy, isn't it?
329.
Yeah.
Well, the taxes, like I said, were probably almost close to 200.
140.
140.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's half of it right there almost.
Yeah.
And then you have to pay for plates, title transfer, registration. So registration is up to like 40 some. I think it's like
Yeah.
$40 alone or something.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've done it all, the transfer and all that. But everything's gone up with inflation. So yeah.
Crazy.
So just to do a title transfer, tags
$2,000
and
sale.
plates on a $2,000 sale. So 6% sales tax in Pennsylvania comes to like it's $140 in tax. Okay, and it was three what?
$329 total.
$329. So
Everything's in
basically,
there, it's all posted.
without the tax, It's like $200 without tax.
Yeah.
Close to 200 to do a title transfer. I remember it used to be just over 100 to do all that.
Crazy.
Yeah, and if you had your own plate, you could you could save more money. But
I put
anyway,
your plate in the passenger seat. I tried to put it on, but I couldn't get it to go in.
what's that?
I tried to put your plate back on, but I couldn't get it to go in earlier.
There's that. Did you see all the holes in the back?
Yeah. And
That's
those are, like,
why.
ones.
Yeah, I've had the same problem. Actually, I lost my plate one time on that car. I was heading out to St. Lawrence. I got out there and realized my plate was gone. So I was like, fuck, it could be anywhere between here and Johnny's.
Yeah. Oh,
And I drove all the way back without a plate, looking for it everywhere. And as soon as I turned to pull down in, it was laying right here in the middle of the road.
Really?
Yep.
I was talking
So-
to Grandma about it up there. She was talking to Debbie about the car, and she was like, "Yeah, I took that off insurance." And I was like, "Yeah, it needs a new." I said, she was like, she said something. I was like, "Yeah, it needs a new engine." She was like, "It doesn't need a whole new engine." And I was like, "No."
No, it doesn't. It just
technically
needs a
not."
head
I
gasket.
said a new engine would fix it, but she was like, and then
People think a head gasket
she's
is
wrong. She
saying
it's not worth anything anymore.
who said that?
Grandma.
She said that?
Yeah.
I wonder who's telling her that, because I didn't tell her that, and
Well,
I know what
Debbie
I'm
just
talking
started with,
about.
like, because I was just talking about how it needs, like, started talking about what it needs and stuff. And
I mean, listen, if I had money and I didn't have to be frugal, then it's easier to go out and buy a newer car that's
all
running
I
and
said,
not
is that
broken.
well, yeah.
But for somebody who knows how to work on a car and knows the price of the parts, no, that can absolutely be fixed very
That's what I
easily
was like-
and be perfectly
I
fine.
was like, in my head, that can be such a. You can soup that up. It could be still has
Yeah.
so much potential.
Yeah, it was running whenever
It's not
I shut it
scrap
off.
It's not scrap yet.
Not yet. I mean, scrap price, you get like $300.
Yeah, it's not.
Right, to take it to the scrapyard. You can call them; they'll come and get it and give you like $50 to take it. But yeah, I could part it out and take all the parts off that, put them online and sell them, and make thousands.
You could.
I have $1,000 worth of brand new parts in the trunk that I didn't even put on yet. We're talking about vehicles. So this is my daughter's car. It's fine. I'm just changing the control arm and putting her summer tires back on. So I already did everything else, and I was just letting the PB blast, do its work. And then I got tired last night, and you know what happens after that. So I'm getting ready to finish the work on this,
We'll rest now. If I need to
and
go anywhere, I can.
and then we can drive around like Big Bird. But that's my daughter's car. But she bought that yesterday, all by herself, because I'm such a bad parent. You know what I mean? I'm not taking all the credit or anything. You know what I mean? But you know,
I
certain
wouldn't get here without you.
all the things that they call me, and they try to use. You know what I mean? Like they try to say.
This today without you.
Did you hear that? Yeah. So I don't know
Just
if.
this car.
Yeah. She said without my useless wealth of useless knowledge, she said she wouldn't.
Well, that
She wouldn't learn the things or know the things that.
I need to confident in myself too.
Right. No. But you should be. I make my kids do everything. I make them make their own mistakes. I don't shield them, from making mistakes, because that's just you're not doing your kids any favor if you try to lecture them to the point where they don't make mistakes, because they don't learn anything, They're those perfect people that run around and say, "I've never been arrested. I never got in trouble." And they judge everybody who's ever had a charge pressed against them or done drugs in their life. Yeah, they run around judging all those people. And unfortunately, they don't even realize that they're the ass clowns. I feel bad for those people because they're so petty. They rely on us, us mistake makers, to feel good about themselves. If without a bunch of people to point out and put down, then they'd be nothing, right? How do they put themselves on their pedestal without stepping on the heads of all these other people that they can point out and say, "Nah, look how stupid you are. Look how bad you are. Look how, you're a criminal. You're a criminal." Because I'm a criminal every time. What's up, Tasha? Been arrested is way different than being convicted. Absolutely. And I think somebody who's been charged, right? Charged with crimes and then dismissed or not, being convicted. That says even more about a person, right? And I don't think it says anything bad about them at all. Some people say, well, if you got charged with a crime, you must have been doing something wrong, right? Or they wouldn't have never charged you. I laugh every time I hear somebody say that because they don't know how stupid they sound. You know, Tasha says, even convicted means about nothing now. Yeah, that just means that that they either were successful in, framing you, or successful in, convicting you with, with their lies and false charges. The system, like Tasha will agree with me, the system is a circus. It's a joke. It's all a show, a facade. Now, on paper, yeah, it sounds great. And if it worked the way it's on paper, then everything would be fine. But it doesn't work like that. They use that stuff on paper when it's convenient for them, right? But then again, they make up stuff and put it on paper and call it law just to be able to get away with the crimes that they've done. You know what I mean? I mean, think about it. There's a bunch of people that are the richest people in the world that are dealing drugs every day. They kill people. They knowingly and intentionally go around trying to get people addicted to drugs that they're pushing, right? And they're allowed to have commercials about it, they have billboards about it. Those are drug dealers. Those are fucking drug dealers, right? And they are influencing your kids way more than the drug dealer, standing in the corner is, let me tell you. And the drugs that they're pushing, there's way more that are way more lethal than any drug you can find in the street. Now, what's the most lethal drug that we know of today, right? That's killing a bunch of people. Huh? Who made it? Who made the most lethal drug that's killing people? Fentanyl. That was not a drug, the drug dealers ran around selling. Fentanyl was created by the pharmaceutical companies. You know what I mean? And guess who manufactures the fucking shit? The fentanyl. It's not like you can grow some fentanyl in your backyard, next to your weed plants. You know what I mean? And then as far as the opium and opiates and shit like that, well, the drug trade and the all of the chemicals and ingredients or whatever for fentanyl and everything else, to get where it needs to go and to make sure that it's being able to be used in the manufacture of fentanyl, that process is facilitated by the CIA, right? Which is funded by, well, oh, that's right, we're not allowed to know. A bunch of your taxpayer dollars, for one thing. But, it's an issue of national security for us to know how they fund these operations, right? Because then you'll find out their means and their methods, and that's dangerous to national security. So think about it. Come on. Why do they not want you to know how they fund their money? Because it's illegal what they're doing. They take our money illegally through our taxpayer dollars to fund their illegal activities, and they can't let you know that. And then you find out the truth. If something is classified from everybody, okay? Everybody. I mean, even the people in the intelligence agencies can't fucking access the information. Then what's that tell you? I mean, just tell me the reason. Give me some kind of reason why, a hypothetical why. What would the risk be? If everybody, what would the risk be? How could somebody then use that and they come up with this big, huge, elaborate fucking 100-stage, operation that somebody could, hypothetically, do something to hurt the the intelligence agencies or their ability, to function. I was going to say their ability to be, to be successful, but they're not. They don't actually. They don't actually show results. Like, we spend this much money on all of it. Well, then shouldn't they be catching the bad guys? They got this big list of known terrorists, right? And they have all of these different laws in place to prevent terrorism, within the United States, and to prevent these types of things from happening. Yet we see them happening time and time again on the news, right? Different school shootings, right? And different. I mean, you don't see too many terrorist attacks or attempts. From my point of view, you don't see that in the United States very much, right? Because if you did, well, then there'd be people asking more questions like, oh, well, who were they? How'd they get in? How'd they get the ability to do that? And then that would lead to more information that just makes them all look bad. So you ask the right questions, you quickly find out that they're not the good guys. They're not on, they don't have the United States people, the people's best interest in mind at all. They're programmed even more than the people are. They're programmed to believe that the people, right, the people that don't have a security clearance are like the enemy, and they have to, listen, they have to make sacrifices, right, and do the hard things, in the interest of national security, the stuff that not everybody can just do, right? But it's for the greater good, right? It's for national security. And they tell themselves that when they go to bed at night to be able to sleep, right? So Tasha says, typical jurors and voters sad. Exactly. When you look into it, they have a process for everything. They have an answer for everything. Every process and step of the court system, the criminal court system, can be compromised, controlled, and flipped either way. So it doesn't matter that there's a jury. Did you ever watch the show Buck? They have several different ways that they can control the outcome of any part of a court case, a criminal court case. And once they get to the point where they, control the jury, then you're fucked. I mean, if the judge is not a good person with integrity, then you're fucked. You know what I mean? It all comes down to that, really. We can look at the cops being corrupt and the cops being bad. We can look at the prosecutors being corrupt and everything, and lawyers being lying little scumbags, and we can look at all of that. But it all boils down to their, who do they answer to, right? They answer to the person wearing that black robe, right? The person we put all our trust in, right? We literally call them the judge. And that's supposed to be the only one that's allowed to judge people. Yet, they're the only ones that actually don't judge someone until the evidence is heard. Everybody else just judges people prematurely, and it's just ridiculous. So Tasha says, Fetty is the basis of the food pyramid now. Oh yeah, is the base of the food pyramid, fentanyl. They put it in everything now. It's crazy that they put it in methamphetamine.
I might have Bobby clean that when I get some money.
Yeah?
It's pretty bad.
It needs detailed?
Yeah, it needs detailed. And like the corners and like where the cigarette lighters are and like...
Yeah, it needs
it's cruddy.
It needs going over with extensively up in the air when it's up in the air, so you can see all the little things underneath. Because we live in West Central Pennsylvania, and you're gonna have bumpy roads and stuff like that. That's you hit something underneath, and pulls a wire, or hits a brake line or a fuel line or something stupid. That's it.
Did you ever put any antifreeze in that?
We didn't look at the fluids in that. No, I didn't put antifreeze in it, and I didn't get to check the transmission fluid either. So we gotta check those. So we will.
I just don't
But your oil's good?
Yeah.
Don't have transmission fluid. I'm an idiot. It's a manual.
Yeah.
But the oil's good, and the
There's some in
the
there.
power steering fluid, you can check the level of that from looking at the outside, I think. And you can't use regular power steering fluid on a Honda. I used to have a bottle of Honda power steering fluid. I don't even know where I got it. I think Ray had it from years ago.
You can't go pick it up.
Yeah, you can buy it online. You can go on Amazon and buy it. But they have a Honda power steering fluid. I don't know what the difference is. It could be something so stupid that it's, just like they came out with Subaru additive. What they started including it with their cars when the head gaskets started going. It's Subaru heating system additive, conditioner is what they called it. And all they did was took Hunt's stop leak. It's not you can't buy it in the United States. It's a product that is over in the United Kingdom and stuff like that. You can buy it online though, but they didn't even put it in their own bottle. They literally took that bottle of that stop leak, and they just slapped a label on it that said Subaru's, heating system conditioner or whatever, and they told you to use that in your car every time you do the regularly scheduled maintenance and you flush the radiator, the cooler. Then you add that to it. It's a conditioner. So they act like it's some kind of intelligent design that requires this special conditioner. No, it's just stop leak because they fucked up on the head gasket design. They designed a head gasket that one of the layers is graphite, right? And the graphite wears off over time, over all the heat and cooling. And that very, very thin layer of graphite that's on the head gaskets, once that, kind of wears away, it creates a tiny little fucking, microscopic gap on the head gasket. And then when there's enough pressure builds up and the water gets into that, then it just boom it,
Yeah.
then once the leak starts, it's like a dam. Once the dam breaks, that's it. There's no going back. There's no fixing it. There are products you can get to fix, a head gasket that's early stages of a head gasket that's going, and I've seen instances where it works. They have the Blue Devil. They have a couple other products that do work if you do it right. But anybody that I saw try it on the Subaru head gaskets has not had success. I have yet to find anybody who's had success using those products on a Subaru head gasket. So the way they go is very particular. It doesn't leak the water into the oil, which is good, and the engine doesn't die. It usually is the fourth cylinder, the driver's side rear cylinder number 4 is usually the one that goes because it doesn't have the same water flow through the water jacket, and it doesn't cool as efficiently as the rest. So it's the one that overheats, usually the one that always goes, and it's usually the oil starts leaking out of that side of the engine, that back corner of the engine. That's your first sign. And then once the oil starts leaking out, eventually you'll start seeing your fluid level dissipate without any leaks. So it's not making it into the oil, but it's being evaporated through the combustion chamber, and it's making it into your coolant system. So, and you can find that out by putting a pressure tester on your radiator cap while it's running, and when you see the gases coming out of your, hey, look at that. Talk about Subaru. Oh, okay, is it? Did you hear what just happened to his mom? She was on the news 2 days ago.
No?
Well, I saw it on the news, or on Facebook. I saw it. She got caught. I don't want to say names or whatever, but she got caught with some bad stuff. She's a bad person doing no stuff. She did stuff that they'd love to plaster all over the news and everything, and that people judge. But at her age, she shouldn't be doing that stuff by now.
Yeah. Sure, treat me nice.
Yeah, she's a nice person. But some people don't have the willpower. They can't say no, and addiction is a bad problem. You go up
I know.
very carefully.
I don't know.
How do you get up the hill?
Yeah.
Well, when you get there and you want to go up the hill, you'll see how you get up the hill. You know how to go out. You look for the water tower,
Yeah.
and when you get out to the water tower, it's Long's Road.
I know. Well, I know. Yeah. I know
Okay,
that.
when
I
you
know
turn on
that.
Long's
I know
Road,
how to get there.
okay.
I mean, with that car, when I get
Oh.
back the road, like the steep hill that goes right up to the
Just
water tower.
don't stop. Just keep going, and you won't have to worry about the clutch or anything.
Okay.
You only have to worry about the clutch when you're shifting gears.
Okay.
So before you start up that hill, make sure you're in the gear that you'll just walk right up it. So, if you got to slow down to a certain point, drop down into second before you start up that hill. In second gear, you'll walk right up that hill, no problem. Okay? You want me to go with you?
No, it's alright.
You're gonna go to the water tower for what?
I want to practice driving.
Well, it's a great time to go out there and catch a nice fucking sunset. Like, look at that. It's
I need food.
we got about an hour.
Do you want to go with me? Are you feeling more confident?
Yeah. Why don't you go eat something, and then here, whenever we go, as soon as it's getting close to it. So if you look, the sun's right about there. I'd say about an hour and a half.
Check the weather app. It gives you the time.
Okay, ask what time sunset is.
You just look like
And what time is it now?
right here. Well, right here, 7:18.
7:18, and it is 10 to. See, I just know these things. My brain. I said what, like an hour and a half, right?
Like an hour.
I just looked at the sun and said about an hour and a half. So yeah. So
I think I'm gonna go to.
if you're still
I
here,
don't have anything to eat. I need to go.
if anybody's still watching, I can't even tell who's watching or how many people. I got 3 likes anyway. See, 3 people like me. I got 3 people that like me. They like me. They really like me. I think they like you, and that's it.
That's weird.
I can accept that. They just like Delilah. I can't blame them. What's not to like? She has a good taste in vehicles.
Yep.
You know. She's respectful to her parents. That's definitely a good quality. You know. She good people take care of their family when it comes time. Like they're there for them when they get older and they need help more with certain things. Good children. They're good to their parents. Evil asshole, dickheaded parents or people abandon their parents when they need them the most, right? Or try to influence people to not like them. That's horrible. You can have problems with your family all you want, but don't go trying to influence other people not to like them too because you don't like them. Bad mouthing them, yeah. I've had problems with my dad. Like we butted heads, and there's several times we didn't talk at all. And I didn't go around talking shit on my dad. You know, he's just family's family. You don't fucking spread that shit around. But you can't tell my brother that. And now here I am being a hypocrite talking shit on my brother. But no, I don't know. He needs to hear it because he's watching right now. I guarantee it. I probably have 3 people watching or 4 people watching. He can't even bring himself to hit the like button. He thinks it's okay to make sick jokes, about his own niece on the internet because she happens to be over 18 now. I still don't, dude. if I did the same thing he's doing to his kids, I have everything you could ask for to ridicule somebody and to make fun of somebody if I wanted to. It's all right there. It's the perfect situation if I wanted to, that I could just totally just run him into the ground and make content to, but that's not right. It's evil and it's sick.
Because the kids didn't do anything.
Yeah, and they didn't do anything, even though they've been programmed and brainwashed by their evil weirdo dad. I
Always made the best
you I understand they're going to respect their dad. Who wouldn't? And I respect them for that. But they're still my nephews no matter what they think of me. So my door's always open. They're always my family. They've never done anything to me that I know of. Even if they did, I don't care. So I'm good with my nephews, or nephew, niece, whatever. But, I can't help their dad, you don't. It sucks how one person can have a feud with another person in a family and they have to include the rest of the family in it and spread it. That's sick and weird. That's how families get separated. When somebody passes away and then there's a controversy or whatever, and then freaking before you know it, there's 2 factions of the family that don't talk to each other and they just talk shit on each other all the time. Tasha knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Run from you when they actually see you in person.
Oh yeah, they absolutely avoid you because they can't risk confrontation when you getting asked a question. They can't really answer questions without looking guilty and looking like the evil. They like Tasha Teeling. She's super fucking intelligent. In her specific situation, her family did all this crazy stuff to her and ridiculed her and made up lies about her and illegally wrote her out of a family trust, right? And the family trust, like the equivalent of at least like $50,000 as far as a house, you know what I mean? And they did it so that they could make these decisions without her, and essentially they're not going to give her the money for it then, if they're able to get her out of the, basically dissolve a family trust.
Go figure out something.
Okay. If to dissolve a family trust legally, all members of the family have to be in agreement. So, and that's why they call it a family trust, okay? So that nobody can take the money, right? And it maintains the legacy of the family, right? People were smart whenever they created, family trusts back in the day, because they don't want these conflicts within the family. to be the to be the detriment of their legacy, of their family name. And so, unfortunately, I learned this through personal experience, and then looking into stuff and researching it. I learned that a lot of people have had their family do this targeting stuff to them, right? And it's unfortunately they get a lot of people involved, and it's all to discredit the person, try to make them get on paper that they're crazy, right? Try to get them to um, check into a mental institute. Once they can do a couple of these things, then they can very easily just do the legal work, whatever legal paperwork it needs to legally, write you out of a trust or write you out of a will or whatever. And I mean, you could not even be aware. You could not even be aware that you have an inheritance, or that you have, you know, that your ancestors, or that your family left, left something to you in a will or whatever, in a trust, right? And you're not gonna know if the rest of the family's aware, and they start doing these things to try to do everything in their power to try to basically kill you, to try to get you to commit suicide, or try to, however they need to do it, whatever gets rid of you, right? Whatever gets rid of that problem, or that, really, it's the liability. They're worried about stuff they already did wrong and illegal, because they would have already done something, with paperwork, that as long as you're alive, there is a risk that they could be found out. The evidence could come out that they committed, I think it's, what's it called? Trust fraud? I think it's what's called. Tasha would know if Tasha's still here. But when that's a financial crime, or I think it's a federal offense, or it's a felony to commit, a crime to that extent, because who knows, what the value is. I know my grandparents, to my knowledge, what I was told, my grandparents owned 3 properties right there in town, right in the middle of town. And one of the properties is actually zoned as commercial property. It's where the mill, the mill was, my family's mill. It used to be Marx's Mill. And if you look back through the history records, Patton, at one time, the name of Patton was Marx's Mill. Okay, and it was named after this mill, Marx's Mill. And that was my family's mill. It, after my grandparents passed away, there was a conflict with my family. I was a kid, but I remember, it was a pretty sad time. And I just remember my dad being real pissed, right? And after the funeral, with my pap's funeral, my Grammy was diabetic, and she was in a hospital bed, and my aunt and uncle moved in to help take care of her. And a year later, when she passed away from, through complications of diabetes, my aunt and uncle obviously stayed in the house. They got the house there. And the mill was my uncle, my other uncle, okay? He ran a auto body shop out of the mill for years, so, everybody called it my uncle's mill, my Uncle Dave's mill. And it was known as, my Uncle Dave's mill. Well, right before he passed, he sold that to another guy in town here who has a bunch of properties around town, actually. I don't want to say anybody's name, but if you're from this area, from town, you know exactly who I'm talking about. And, this person is, to my, from my point of view, this person is involved in my targeting. I don't know why. I don't have the answers, but I have, theories, through through all this, that kind of makes the picture more clear for what the purpose is to certain people, targeting me, right? And everything makes perfect sense whenever you come up with a theory that ties everything together, and it just makes perfect sense. That, according to science, that's how they do it in, in physics, right? Um, or not physics, I'm sorry, with what do they call that? Yeah, physics, right? No, the science of like the Hadron Collider and all that shit. Whatever the word is. I'm not a fucking rocket scientist, but anyway, um, they come up with theories, right? And when the theory can be tested over and over again, and it explains, things unknowns. If they have unknowns, and they come up with different theories that answer these questions, right? Well, until there's a better theory, that becomes the accepted, the working theory for the mainstream, right? So right now, my working theory, I've tested a bunch of shit theories and don't have the answers, but there's one explanation that makes perfect sense, that explains why certain people do what they do and what the reason is of why my targeting, happened. And I believe that it's possible that it was a family trust that existed that, that was kept secret. Because if there was a family trust kept secret, when my grandparents passed away, there was 6 kids, and 3 boys, 3 girls, and there was, I believe that there was several other properties. There was a duplex as well, right up the street from the mill. So it had 2 addresses. The building was connected, but there were 2 first-floor duplexes, and that building is what my other aunt and uncle lived in my entire life. So when my grandparents passed away, there was no properties to be divvied up that I knew of. My uncle ran the body shop, so he got the mill. My other aunt and uncle took care of my Grammy, so they got the house. And then the duplex my aunt and uncle lived in or whatever, so that was, that was theirs. But, so I was a kid, and my dad didn't care anyway. He's not about money. He just, things should be fair, right? But my other aunt, she handled the estate, right? So she handled all the funeral arrangements, and she handled all the financial, the bank accounts and everything like that. So before my Grammy passed, to my knowledge, they went and had a will drawn up, another will drawn up, or a will, I don't know. This is, like I said, this is just from my understanding through things that I've learned from different family members, that, the lawyer in town here, who's also, I have said, and I suspect to be a part of my targeting, right? The lawyers in town, other people in his family have been involved in my targeting. So I don't mind saying their name. It's a lawyer in town, Windiker. To my knowledge, there was a will drawn up. Windiker drew up this will, and they just notified my dad afterwards and said that, well, I was told to draw up this legal document, and your name was nowhere on it. They told my dad, and that's what he was told. So what? He's not a lawyer. He's not even that well versed in reading and writing. He can read and write. He's fine with that. He's not retarded, but he's he don't like doing the whole online or technology end of it, the online banking and shit like that. He likes the old school methods of cash, right? And he can build your house and read a blueprint, but you give him a legal document and expect him to understand it or do anything with it. He's not even going to look at it, So that's why they make lawyers that are experts, right? The lawyers are the experts. My dad, his expertise was building, was construction. He could look at nothing and with his mind know exactly what he needed to build a house or a deck or whatever. It doesn't matter. He's a very good carpenter. I learned a lot from him. And they told him he was out, though. Simple as that. So, my dad, not being one of conflict, he accepted. They gave him my pap's truck. my pap's old truck. So that's what my dad, got to. That was what he got to remember my grandparents by, and now there is something. I was told that my pap had left all his firearms that it, every grandkid was supposed to get. The firearms were to be divvied up amongst the grandkids. That's what I was told. Well, I have yet to anybody to tell me that, or to give me any of my pap's guns. I would love that. To have one of my pap's guns. I would absolutely take care of it and cherish it. But no, my the uncle that has the house and everything. He has all my pap's guns. I could go to him and ask him, but that's not. I shouldn't have to do that. I showed him that I have an interest in firearms. That I started collecting them myself, and you know, and I'm good at it. I have the military. I have documentation proving that I definitely know how to use one better than everybody else in training that I trained with. But yeah. So nothing there. So yeah, I'm putting this out there. Yeah, I have no problem saying this because guess what? It's true. This everything that I'm saying is true to the best of my knowledge. This is what I've been told and what I've been led to, understand and believe. So their theory that I have, you know, is that there may have been a family trust that was, hidden, and it was illegally bypassed. You know what I mean? Because if there ever was a family trust, you can't dissolve a family trust unless there's no living members of the family left, or if they're all in agreement, to sell everything off or do whatever. They all have to be in agreement. So the way I look at it is I look at my family as a whole, and then you have my brother on the one side doing the weird targeting shit, right? And my other brother, he's done Social Security. He's a convicted pedophile. To me, he's dead to me. You know what I mean? I don't care if I ever see him again. I don't want anything to do with him. And he doesn't live in town here. So, and he's on Megan's Law. So he's on the list. So, and they feed him with whatever medication. I don't I don't see him living a very long, healthy life. He's already relying on the government, to survive every day. So. But my brother Ed, there's no explanation to what his plan is, because he has no more education other than he dropped out in like 9th, 10th grade, never got his GED, and he plays the bongos. He was learning construction, with my dad and everything, but one day, about 20 years ago, I'd say about maybe 15 to 20 years ago, he just quit. He just decided he don't have to work anymore. He quit, and he didn't work. That's it. He did do one other job for about 6 months, taking care of special needs people, until he couldn't do it no more, and he quit. About 6 months of that, maybe. And then he did help the beer distributor when they got a load of beer in to unload it off the truck. But that was just when a truck came in on Saturdays. He was supposed to come and help. I never actually seen him doing it, and to my knowledge, he doesn't do that anymore. I never seen him doing it to begin with. And that's my brother's entire life. He's 41 years old. So he was in his 20s when he quit working construction with my dad. He worked, with my dad. And he lived in my dad's house. Never lived on his own. Lived in my dad's house until he was 37 years old, at which point my dad just asked for some help. He just needed help paying the electric bill because he's on disability. Couldn't afford all the bills because my brother, his old lady, their 2 kids, they all lived in the same house, and the electric bill was astronomical. So when he asked for help, that's when all this kind of started with they started this big online campaign. It was strange to me that they were trying to make it appear as if my dad was crazy, or that he was not capable of taking care of himself mentally, cognitively. And they were putting all this stuff out there, like insinuating that they were afraid of him burning the house down. Okay, and I was actually starting to see. I saw it all on the wall. The writing was right there. So I actually went to my dad, got more involved, and I just did everything I could to help him, not to combat or go against my brother Ed at all, not at all. But I'm not going to sit there and allow my dad to be taken advantage of like that. Like the way they were treating him after he did everything to help them for fucking 20 years since my nephews were born. Well, my brother's entire life, you know, where's the appreciation for that? Where's the thanks? You know, the thanks that he got for doing that was smeared online. His name ran through the mud to everybody in town. Lies being told about him, and then they lied to him and said that they were paying the taxes, which they did every year, only for him to find out when he had no money, for him to find out that the taxes weren't paid